Hello, coin people. This is Matthew with Elderstone Coins. Wanted to look at a recent sale of 1895O on eBay that sold for $7,100. It's a recent sale in March of 23. Let's look at it. So the first thing I thought when I looked at the coin was that it was fake. I noticed a lot of fakes on eBay. They sometimes I'll email the seller and let them know that the coin's fake if it's obvious. But for something like this, to me, it initially seemed obvious, and as I looked a little closer, it became less so. But anyway, let's look at the coin. So one of the things that I immediately noticed was that it was the lettering was a little bit puffy, a little bit rounded. Didn't have that sharp look to a genuine Morgan. Another thing, when you look at this, you're not seeing many bag marks on her cheek, and you're not seeing many bag marks in the fields, and it has a semi-PL look to it, if not fully PL, in hand maybe, I don't know. But definitely a semi-PL look to it with minimal marks, but then you start looking a little closer and you can see that the detail in the hair and the cotton balls and the leaves are very weak. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that the coin is fake. Could be a weak struck coin, but this doesn't appear to be weak struck. It appears to be weak detailed. So as we look at this, let's look at the reverse. Again, when I'm looking at this coin, I'm going in skeptical because you have a coin that has very few marks that appears to be uncirculated, and it's raw. The seller doesn't accept returns. Surprise, surprise. And if it were genuine, and it really was a genuine Morgan silver dollar of this quality, even cleaned, it would be worth a good amount of money, more than $7,100. Too good to be true, probably is. In this case, that seems to be the truth. The O mint mark looks a little lacking in detail to me. I mean, the picture isn't perfect, so it's not a perfect situation, but and the lettering on the reverse looks a little better than it does on the obverse. That's pretty sharp. The United, the N looks a little funny, but that might be the lighting. I can't tell. And then, but the lettering overall looks good. I noticed what appears to be extra metal on the top of the L's and the R, which could be from the cast of the fake. Could you might say, well, that's doubling. I suppose that's possible. I'd have to look at the VAMs for this and the die pairs for the 95O. There aren't many, so it should be obvious. Also appear to be some doubling up here, potentially extra metal underneath states. If that's a variety for 1895O, I'm not aware of it. So the lettering actually looks really pretty good to me on the reverse. It's got weak breast feathers. Not a surprise for an O mint. Go back to the obverse. Again, the hair above the ear, it's not only weak, it just lacks detail. And then as you follow the hair along the forehead and side of her face, it's lacking in detail. Now it could be the photo, but to me this looks fake. And then you look at the stars. The stars are a little bit rounded also. 1895, usually if you look at the date, that's the first place you should look, because it's almost always ridiculous on a modern fake. And in this case, the lettering's actually pretty good. But there looks to be a little bit of extra metal to the left of the one that could be a mark that I'm just not seeing, because it's a picture. But to me, that's not, that date does not look quite right to me. Let's look at some of these letters. You see how it looks? Look at that U. You see that U? You see how the right hand side of the U has that curved U shape now, and how it has the fat serifs at the top. I think that's what that's called, serif. But anyway, it looks a little too rounded and lacking in detail. So let's look at a genuine one real quick. When we go to 18950, let's see, and then we hit. Okay, it's not an apples to apples comparison here because we're looking at a 67. But if we look at that second line of the U, I mean, it's just a straight shot up with a very flat serif, and so. And then you look at the R and the I. Now this is a very high resolution image, so it's not apples to apples, but let's look at this by comparison. And if you look at the R, you see in the R there's like extra metal in the bottom portion of it, in between the two sides of the R on the bottom portion. It looks like there's extra metal there. There shouldn't be any metal there. And then you see this R, and you look at this. Yeah, this is a fake. And then you look at the U, it's all rounded, and this is just perfectly straight. We can look at it like this too. It just, to me, genuine on the left, obviously. Looks like a modern cast on the right. Unfortunately, someone paid $7,100 for it. Now, I do want to say that, you know, I do consider myself an expert, but I'm not making a definitive statement because the coin's not in my hands. But if I had to make a $10,000 bet, I would, that the coin is fake. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Is it obviously fake? Is it obviously genuine? Do you think it is up in the air at this point? I'd like to know what you guys think. Thank you very much. Bye.